Good day, everyone. I want to share a story that will challenge everything you think you know about justice. It's a journey into the heart of a system designed to protect us, yet sometimes it can falter in the most profound ways. This isn't just about a legal case. It's about the resilience of the human spirit when faced with unimaginable odds. Imagine losing decades of your life for something you didn't do. How would you find the strength to keep fighting? What if the very evidence used to condemn you was flawed from the start? This story is a testament to perseverance, the quiet dignity of innocence, and the relentless pursuit of truth. Prepare to listen, to feel, and perhaps to look at the world a little differently. Life in Monroe County, Alabama had a rhythm all its own. For Aaron Jenkins, that rhythm was the steady hum of hard work, the laughter of his family, and the quiet satisfaction of a day well spent. He was the kind of man who'd lend you his last dollar, the first to help a neighbor in need, and a constant reassuring presence in his small, close-knit community. His days unfolded with a predictable grace, filled with the simple joys that make life worth living. The aroma of his mother's Sunday dinner, the crack of a bat at a local baseball game, the sound of crickets on a warm evening. This was the life he cherished, the one he built with his own two hands, never imagining it could be snatched away in a single, terrifying moment. Then the night of the crime struck. 2 lives extinguished, a community plunged into fear and outrage. The pressure on local law enforcement was immediate, palpable, and frankly overwhelming. Detective Miller, a man known for his relentless pursuit of justice, felt the weight of expectation heavy on his shoulders. In moments like these, when public outcry demands swift answers, the line between justice and urgency can blur. We've seen it time and again, haven't we? That desperate need to pin a crime on someone, anyone, can lead to a tunnel vision where subtle biases rooted deeply in the very soil of this South, begin to distort the truth, quietly whispering, "This is your man." It's a chilling reminder that sometimes the greatest dangers aren't the monsters lurking in the shadows, but the unseen cracks in the very foundations of the system designed to protect us. For Aaron Jenkins that night, his ordinary life didn't just end. It was shattered by the sudden, brutal intrusion of flashing lights, stern faces, and the cold click of handcuffs. He was taken confused and terrified, pulled from his world into a nightmare that had nothing to do with him, yet everything to do with a justice system under immense pressure to deliver a quick arrest. The arrest of Aaron Jenkins sent ripples of disbelief through Monroe County, but the prosecution quickly moved to silence any doubts. Their star witness, Dr. Elias Thorne, a ballistics analyst, presented as nothing short of an oracle. Dr. Thorne, with his commanding presence and seemingly infallible pronouncements, took the stand and declared with an unshakable confidence that the bullets from the crime scene definitively, unequivocally matched a gun found at Aaron's home. The jury, faced with such a forceful, authoritative declaration from a man of science, had little reason to doubt. They saw certainty. They heard truth. But what they didn't see was the deception lurking beneath that veneer of expertise. Dr. Thorne, it turns out, was more showman than scientist. He lacked proper credentials. His methodology was deeply flawed, and his matches were often based on subjective interpretations rather than objective fact. Imagine the scene in that courtroom, Aaron watching, bewildered as a man in a crisp suit calmly and confidently seals his fate with what he presents as irrefutable scientific proof. This wasn't just a mistake. It was a terrifying indictment of a system that can blindly accept flawed truth, sentencing an innocent man to a fate worse than death. It's a chilling reminder that in the quest for justice, we can sometimes be led astray by the very people we trust to illuminate the truth. The devastating power of Dr. Thorne's testimony highlights a critical vulnerability in our justice system, the potential for seemingly credible science to become a weapon of injustice, leaving a trail of ruined lives in its wake. This section isn't just about Aaron's conviction. It's about the silent catastrophe that unfolds when trust is misplaced and authority goes unchecked. 30 years. Imagine the sun rising and setting 10,950 times each dawn, bringing not hope, but the stark, cold reality of a concrete cell. For Aaron Jenkins, these 3 decades on death row were an eternity, a slow, agonizing erosion of everything he knew. The isolation was soul-crushing, a constant hum of despair broken only by the clang of cell doors and the whispers of other condemned men. Every day brought the chilling reminder of his looming execution, a constant threat that hung heavy in the air. He lost connections. His aging mother Clara grew frail, his friends moved on, and the world outside transformed into something unrecognizable. The simple act of stepping outside, feeling the grass beneath his feet, became a distant, almost mythical memory. Yet within those unseen walls, Aaron found a resilience that defied logic. He clung to his innocence like a lifeline, writing letters to his mother, filling notebooks with his thoughts, and devouring every book he could get his hands on, from philosophy to fiction. He found unexpected bonds with other prisoners, a brotherhood forged in the crucible of shared suffering, sharing stories and finding solace in their collective struggle. There were moments of sheer terror, too, like the time a cell block riot erupted just floors below him, or when an execution date was set, only to be stayed at the very last minute, leaving him emotionally gutted. Each rejection of his appeals was a fresh stab of pain, yet each time he found the will to push forward. This is where we first meet Alara Vance, a tireless pro bono lawyer from a nonprofit organization who years into Aaron's incarceration stumbled upon his case. Drawn by a nagging feeling, a sense that something was deeply wrong, she decided to take a closer look. Her initial attempts to reopen it were met with bureaucratic walls and the crushing inertia of a system reluctant to admit its own colossal mistakes. Aaron's story on death row isn't just a tale of confinement. It's a profound exploration of the human spirit's ability to endure to hope and to fight for dignity, even when all hope seems lost. It forces us to confront the true cost of a wrongful conviction, not just the loss of freedom, but the systematic dismantling of a human life piece by agonizing peace. Then a flicker, a tiny, almost imperceptible spark in the overwhelming darkness. After years of relentless appeals and countless rejections, Alara Vance and her dedicated team, armed with new forensic experts and a burning conviction, began to meticulously re-examine the very evidence that had condemned Aaron. They dove into the outdated reports, the grainy photographs, the almost forgotten testimony of Dr. Elias Thorne. It was a painstaking, often frustrating treasure hunt through dusty archives and cold case files. Who helped them? Sometimes it was a junior clerk sympathetic to their cause, sometimes a retired police officer who harbored doubts about the original investigation, and who resisted. Often it was the very prosecutors who had won the original conviction, unwilling to tarnish their record by admitting a monumental error. The revelation was like a thunderclap. The new ballistics analysis, using modern techniques that were simply unavailable or ignored 3 decades ago, conclusively proved what Aaron had maintained for 3 decades. The bullets from the crime scene simply could not have come from his gun. The science that had put him on death row was not only faulty, but in its incompetence or outright disregard for truth had been a perversion of justice. Imagine the aha moment in Alara's office, the quiet shock turning into a furious determination as these new experts laid bare the critical glaring flaws in Dr. Thorne's original findings, perhaps revealing he'd mixed up evidence, or worse, deliberately exaggerated his findings. But even with this undeniable scientific proof, the path to freedom was far from clear. The state fought back, unwilling to admit such a monumental error. Alara and her team faced an arduous, protracted legal battle, navigating procedural hurdles and the sheer inertia of a system that would rather protect its own infallibility than right an egregious wrong. This was a war of attrition, a testament to the power of relentless advocacy and the unwavering belief in one man's innocence. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the greatest battles for justice aren't won in a single dramatic courtroom scene, but in the quiet, persistent work of those who refuse to give up, who understand that truth, however long it takes, will always find its way into the light. The day came. After 30 years, 10,950 sunrises and sunsets, the heavy prison gates finally clanged open for Aaron Jenkins. The moment he stepped out, bathed in the blinding light of freedom, was nothing short of miraculous. The world was a dizzying kaleidoscope of color and sound he'd only dreamed of. The crisp smell of fresh air, the vibrant green of the grass beneath his feet, the overwhelming embrace of his mother Clara, a hug he'd waited 3 decades for. He remembered the simple joy of his first truly free meal, a cheeseburger from a local diner. He'd barely touched a computer, let alone a smartphone, and the sheer pace of modern life was a dizzying maze. The simple act of crossing a busy street felt alien, a test of courage he hadn't faced in 3 decades. But Aaron's story became more than just his own. It became a powerful, undeniable catalyst for positive change. Instead of succumbing to bitterness, Aaron transformed his pain into purpose. He joined Alara Vance and her organization as a community educator traveling across the country and even internationally. He stood before audiences, from college students to legal professionals, sharing his journey with a quiet dignity, a disarming humor, and a profound message of hope. His talks weren't just about his wrongful conviction. They were a rallying cry for criminal justice reform, advocating for the abolition of the death penalty, and confronting the deep-seated racial biases embedded in our legal system. In 2018, Aaron published his memoir, How I Found Life and Freedom on Death Row. This book became a New York Times bestseller and an Oprah Winfrey Book Club selection, bringing his powerful narrative to millions globally. It revealed not only the agonizing fight for his freedom, but also the incredible ways he maintained hope, found solace, and even discovered joy within the confines of death row. He openly shares the challenges of re-entry, how he still wakes at 3 a.m. prison breakfast time and often sleeps curled up, a habit, from his small cell. But his core message is always one of forgiveness. He chose to forgive those who wronged him, not for their sake, but for his own peace. As he often says, I don't forgive them so they can sleep well at night. I forgive them so I can sleep well at night. Aaron Jenkins's life is a living testament to the human spirit's boundless capacity for resilience, forgiveness, and hope. His personal tragedy blossomed into a beacon of change, reminding us that even from the deepest despair, one voice, one story can ignite a movement towards a more just and equitable world for all. Aaron's journey reminds us that justice is a constant fight, but one we must never give up on. If his story touched you, if it sparked a flicker of hope or a renewed belief in what's possible, please like this video and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Every share helps shed light on these critical issues. And if you believe, like we do in a world where innocence is always protected, then subscribe to our channel. Join our community as we continue to explore stories of resilience, injustice, and the unwavering pursuit of truth. What part of Aaron's journey resonated most with you? Tell us in the comments below.